I have a ton to say about the oncoming snowpocalypse, icepocalypse in Dallas-Fort Worth, including the numbers that you have been told about how many people died 5 years ago in Winter Storm Uri, and that is a lie. I will tell you why coming up. But the first thing I want to do is tell you that I was so overjoyed when those 3 terrorists were arrested today. I was so happy and felt such a sense of personal justice. And the thing that I wanted to tell you, before I show their mugshots and all sorts of great stuff to share with you and video of them getting arrested, that's very important to see and very potent. The first thing I want to say is my genuine reaction when I saw they were arrested this morning one by one. And I wrote it right here on this piece of paper. You hurt us. You hurt us. When you did that, you hurt us. You hurt every one of us churchgoers, every one of us believers. You hurt us, and you're going to pay. You hurt us, and you're going to pay. In fact, when I think of you hurting us, this is exactly what I think. You hurt us, and you're going to pay. You hurt us, and you're going to pay. That's exactly it right there. That boy crying. That's just like my son who I baptized in my previous church, and my daughter. They're in their sanctuary where they're safe. They're worshiping Jesus, and terrorists coming, and that's who these people are. You hurt us, and now you're going to pay. They really did. They hurt me, and they hurt every one of us believers, and they acted like they were doing protesting. They invaded a church and violated the civil rights of American citizens worshiping God in their sanctuary. You hurt us, and you're going to pay. Here it is. Here is the pictures, by the way. This is Nakima. What's her last name? I got her name in here. Nakima. I know her name over and over again, but Nakima Levy Armstrong. Here it is. Nakima Levy Armstrong, and that is her booking picture. Then we go to the next one, which is William Kelly. That's his booking picture. That screaming guy, that maniac who was saying white supremacy, white, white, white. And by the way, they're going to come after these people for civil rights violations because it was all about whites. This is the woman who worked for the St. Paul School District, and she's also the head of Black Lives Matter, apparently for either St. Paul or Minneapolis, St. Paul. Chantel Allen, you are now felons arrested, and you deserve everything you get. Let's show some more pictures. This is Nakima Levy Armstrong being frog marched away as she was arrested. What I would have given to be that agent right there arresting her. Here's another one where Nakima Levy Armstrong is inside of the federal facility. She's in cuffs. Does she look happy there? You hurt us, and now you're going to pay, Nakima, you sick woman who's gotten filthy rich off of these Black Lives Matter type activist groups that give nothing to the people you claim to serve. You hurt us, and now you're going to pay. William Kelly, there you are with your F Trump hat on. That guy right there on the left, the guy that's holding him, that works for the ICE or HSI or FBI, he is so happy. You can kind of read it through that mask he's wearing right there. You hurt us, and now you're going to pay. Here's my favorite. This is a video. This is Chantel Allen, who literally has had to have 2 sets of handcuffs because she's so obese, getting frog marched and brought in the federal facility where they're sitting tonight.
Lock-up's in there. We'll bring her in. She'll stand off on the side. I know there's something here like this too.
Big Mama's coming in. Look at her. Watch this. Double handcuffs. Terrorizing children at a church. You hurt us, and now you're going to pay. Smile. Smile, Big Mama, you're going to the pokey. And this is a day of justice. One of the things that I was asking today when I was filling in in Omaha today for KFAB, Ask questions. Do you agree with these arrests? I sure do. How did you feel when you saw what they did? I felt hurt. I felt terrorized for those children. I felt terrorized for the people there. They thought, one of the people calling in today said they thought they were going to be shot, and that's exactly right. Non-believers, what's your reaction? Do you want this prosecuted? How serious is this to you? I think for anybody who's a non-believer, this should be terribly serious to you too. This is a bedrock of our country. The comments from the Justice Department today, quote, this is from one of the spokespersons for the Justice Department. We will share more updates as they become available. Listen loud and clear, all caps. We do not tolerate attacks on places of worship. This is just like the civil rights era when blacks' churches were torched, firebombed by terrorist Democrat KKK members. That's why the Klan Act is going to be looked at here. I think might be prosecuted, as well as for sure the FACE Act is being prosecuted here because they terrorized, intimidated, and impinged people's ability to worship God. Some other things to share with you. Here's this liar, Nikema Allen Johnson, Nikema Levy Armstrong, and here she is lying on fake news CNN because she's now in the pokey. This is before she was arrested. Here she is lying and saying that, I wasn't interrupting worship. No, I was worshiping with them until they didn't do what I wanted.
To correct something that was said in the beginning, we did not rush into that church. We actually went and sat down and participated in the service. And after the pastor prayed, that is when I stood up and asked him a question in response to his prayer. And then he responded to me. And then I proceeded to ask him about Pastor David Easterwood and how is it possible for him to serve as both the pastor and the director of ICE for Minnesota. And instead of responding to me, as soon as I said the name David Easterwood, the pastor says, shame, shame. And that is when I led us in chants, justice for Renee Good and hands up, don't shoot. So I want to clarify that. We didn't rush in. We didn't bust in. We were a part of the service until I got up and posed that question to the pastor.
All right. And obviously, I'm not going to dispute your saying what happened.
Oh, no, because she tells the truth, because she's a woke black lady who was in Black Lives Matter, who's been made rich through Black Lives Matter and the fools and the crazies who have given money to them. No worries, you're in jail tonight and you're a liar. I went there and I was worshiping. Yeah, you were worshiping, all right. You planned this. Don Lemon has it on tape and he's in trouble. He's going to get arrested. There's a couple things they can do at this point. I was listening to Greg Jarrett, who talks like this when he's on Sean Hannity's show. I like Greg Jarrett, but he talks so funny. But he was saying that what they're going to do next is they can bring him in front of a federal grand jury to indict her, him, Don Lemon, which they will do, I believe strongly, or go in front of a different magistrate. Actually, this magistrate, he is the guy that said no. He is married to a woman who works in the hyper-leftist, Marxist, woke Minnesota Attorney General's office, Keith Ellison. She works for him, and she has posts that are anti-ICE up. That judge, by the way, is more of a clerical judge. He's a magistrate judge. What that means is he does like tickets and low-level things. So they can go to a normal federal district judge, and that judge will give the indictment, will sign the arrest warrant, and they'll get him arrested. So there's two options. Don Lemon will be arrested. Don Lemon was on tape recording, and they said this is Operation Pull-Up. She didn't go there to worship with people. We all know that. She's a liar, and she's in jail. She's not going to jail. She's in jail, and she will be tried, and I believe she'll be convicted. I pray to God. You terrorized us. You hurt us. Never again. And this is a message. You come for our churches. We come for you. J.D. Vance was in Minnesota today talking about this. And he said, quote, we're seeing this level of chaos only in Minneapolis. Maybe the problem is unique to Minneapolis, and we believe that it is. Well, it is. Here's ICE today just trying to go to the bathroom at a gas station. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tie this into Chicago. Chicago actually is nowhere near as bad as Minnesota. I say it again, Chicago is nowhere near as bad as Minneapolis. I fill in regularly in Chicago. It's my hometown. I'm going to tell you why Chicago is so much better how they're treating ICE than Minneapolis. You're not going to believe this, but it's true, and I'm going to explain why. Here we go. Here's what happened today. At another regular bathroom stop, ICE agents need to go to the bathroom, and they stop at this gas station. Look at how they're mistreated. They're simply going to the bathroom. Now, here's why this didn't have to happen in Chicago. We saw a lot of stuff get real and go down in Chicago. I understand that, and that's true. There's people that are chasing them, blowing the whistles, doing all that crazy stuff, idiots. But Minneapolis is much, much worse, and St. Paul, but particularly Minneapolis is much, much worse. Because in Chicago, believe it or not, in the state of Illinois under Governor Pritzker, and in the city of Chicago, and in Broadview, which is just outside of Chicago, where the facility is, Illinois state troopers were deployed, and they were dispatched right there at the Broadview facility to keep the people from blocking ICE egress and ingress with their cars. Illinois state troopers are there, and they're deployed to the tune of 20, 30, 50, 60 of them. So Minnesota and the state of Minnesota and Minneapolis and St. Paul have never and will never deploy state troopers or police to maintain order while the federal government, like them or not, does their job, their lawful job. Chicago is much better than Minneapolis. Have you seen Minnesota state troopers be deployed? And they would help. Have you seen them? No. This is a unique situation, and it's a choice by crazed radical leftists. Jacob Fry, for example, the mayor of Minneapolis, saying today after those, thank you, God, for those arrests. That's also what I said is thank you, God, for those arrests. After those arrests, Mayor Jacob Fry said this is a gross abuse of power. The federal government, this sick SOB wants to allow people to terrorize and invade churches and take them over because if you don't, as a litmus test, if you don't like what they're preaching, you can take them over. This man is a freaking sick, godless communist man, and he's a leg humper of those Somalis. He humps their legs and dances like a flaming guy for them. This is a gross abuse of power, Jacob Fry tweeted today. The federal government is picking and choosing who to investigate, going after prosecutors, and not the person, who shot and killed one of our neighbors. I'm calling for Nikema to be released immediately. Isn't that a sick man? What a sick man. It's unbelievable. Really. Judge blocks attempt to charge Don Lemon, as I told you, Don Lemon. So that is, I already kind of adjudicated that. I told you how that could be adjudicated, how that could be, I should say, he can be brought to justice, and I believe he will be brought to justice and must be. This is another thing. Did you see this woman who claims her baby was tear gassed? That she was simply trying to check on her mom, who was supposedly at the protest with the terrorist protest against ICE in Minneapolis. Oh, I was just coming to check on my mom and tell her she should leave. Oh, look, ICE, while I was doing that, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't protesting. ICE threw a tear gas canister under my car, and my child had to be given CPR. Idiots gave this woman $173,000. Guess what? She and her husband left the vehicle, abandoned their children for 40 minutes. It's on tape. While they protested, they laughed and danced and said, "We gonna kill these the full word M, and then the full F'ers. These are terrorists." This woman also has been charged with second-degree murder in 2019 after luring a 21-year-old named Malik Smith to his death, pretending to be looking to buy marijuana from him when he was ambushed by two men. Her friend then shot him dead, shot the 21-year-old dead. Her friend is serving a 30-year sentence for killing him. She, then known as Destiny Bradshaw, later struck a plea. She admitted aiding an offender in that murder and being an accomplice after the fact. She served 28 days in county jail only. She was placed on supervised probation, ordered 5 years, which is to run out later this year, ordered restitution. And so this woman lied. She was on CNN. Oh, you're a victim. Your child was gassed. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune had a separate, altered version of this, according to the Daily Mail, claiming her family was injured after she stopped to check on her mom. She's a liar. She helped somebody murder somebody. She lured somebody to be murdered. And she was protesting for 40 minutes, abandoning her child. And fools and suckers gave her on a GoFundMe $173,000. A woman who helped murder a man. And the man's name is, who she lured to murder, is Malik Smith. How much you want to bet he's a black man? You think they give a frog's fat, what, about black people or people of color? They don't. They don't. And that, by the way, that protest that was going on with radicals and crazed people is an illegal that Homeland Security, DHS, was pulling over. Remember that illegal that was shot in the leg? He was pulled over in a traffic stop. He crashed his car, was shot in the leg when two of his other illegal friends came out, were beating the hell out of that ICE officer. And that's when that crazed mom was there and saying her son was gassed. They're liars, absolute liars. Fake news. CNN treated them like it was the gospel, just like they treated Nikema. Whatever her name is, Nikema Levy Armstrong, the now jailbird. Then also the story about a 5-year-old that was abandoned. I think I have his picture here. It's a total lie. This 5-year-old was supposedly abandoned. Supposedly this 5-year-old was abandoned when his dad was pulled over by ICE, and ICE, how dare you, they abandoned him. That's a lie. That kid was not abandoned. His dad abandoned the kid. His dad was pulled over in a targeted enforcement action, and when ICE pulled him over, he ran out of the car and abandoned his 5-year-old child. What would you want ICE to do with that? Leave the 5-year-old by himself? No, they stayed there. And then the dad, once they got him into custody and cuffed him and stuffed him for deportation, the dad says, yes, I want my 5-year-old to go with me. We're going to get deported together. That's what they do. They keep families together. The media and the left and the Democrats, the Democrat Party that put that out there, that this kid was somehow, grabbed and was detained by ICE or separated. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. All a lie. Glad I get to clear that up for you and show you those things. What else do I have for you? Here's that lady I told you about. "40 minutes. There they were, sitting out there. Those folks. That was the woman that lied and said that she was her kid was gassed and all this kind of stuff. The people give $173,000 to. I want to. I got something else. 2 things. I want to remind you of this. All these people and all their antics and their terrorism and their attacking ICE, terrorizing them and trying to block them and stop them. Lunging at them with their guns, etc., with their cars, all this stuff. This is all part of what the Democrats said they wanted to do. All these Democrats demanded among tons and tons of Democrat members of Congress. This is an Axios report from July 7th of last year. Quote, this is only 6 months into the Trump administration. Democrat members of Congress are facing a growing thrum of demands to break the rules, fight dirty, and not be afraid to get hurt. House Democrats, several of them, anonymously told Axios they are seeing a growing anger among their base that has in some cases morphed into a disregard for American institutions and even the rule of law. Another told Axios that a sense of fear and despair and anger among voters puts us in a different position, with many requesting anonymity to offer candid insights about their interactions with constituents and activists. For months, Democrat lawmakers have fumed that their base's demands fight harder. Their base demands they fight harder. We've got people who are desperately wanting us to do something, no matter what we say they want more, says Democrat Rep. Brad Schneider from Illinois. The grassroots wants more. Some of them have suggested what we really need to do is being willing to get shot when visiting ICE facilities or federal facilities, a third Democrat told Axios. A fifth House Democrat told Axios, people online have sent me crazy S-word, told me to storm the White House and stuff like that. Now, let's go to one of these crazed idiots. Yesterday, I played you a lunatic who apparently is a Garland ISD teacher who is teaching kids that ICE lies and how bad they are and teaching kids how to lie to ICE and what to do with ICE in the middle of a classroom in Garland ISD. That guy should be fired and should lose his teaching certificate. Now I'm going to introduce you to somebody else according to Libs of TikTok. This nutbag also works for Garland ISD. This is insane. What are all these people working for Garland ISD doing? This woman, who you're seeing in her post, according to the Libs of TikTok, they say her name is Chandler Renshaw. She's a teacher at the NG High School Raiders in Texas. Online attacking Trump supporters, Christians, and ICE over deporting criminals. F, full word, every person who voted for this. F you, full word, to our government that is full of cowards. Do you think this person should be in charge of teaching children? Asks the asks, there you go, Dallas, Texas, U.S. North Garland High School. Chandler Renshaw is who they say this is. F every person who voted for this. F you to our government, and that is full of cowards. So what do you think? Should this crazed lady be teaching our children in Garland ISD, if it's true what the Libs of TikTok claims? I don't think so. Wow. Look at those nutbags. That's a second crazed nutbag allegedly at Garland ISD saying vile things. In Garland ISD. Hello, Governor Abbott. Hello, Garland ISD. Hello, parents. Are you going to get these people out of the school district or what? Now, let me give you one more lunatic. This is a crazed Karen who literally obstructed police officers in Maine who were called to respond to an incident to protect children at a school. I believe small children. And this idiot woman literally thought that it was ICE. So she obstructed and stopped police officers from protecting children at a school because she literally thought she was blocking ICE. This is the leftist lunacy that is hurting our communities, our people, and law enforcement. And by the way, law enforcement is charging her. And by the way, that's exactly why federal law enforcement is charging these bleeps who get in the way of ICE enforcement. Here we go.
This morning, while Brewer police were helping investigate a threat at nearby schools, they say officers encountered a woman who thought they were ICE. Brewer police say 63-year-old Mary Conmee of Orrington deliberately drove to the scene and interfered with police activity. They say Conmee repeatedly sounded an air horn, refused lawful orders to leave, and yelled expletives at officers. Police say she stated she didn't want ICE in her neighborhood, despite reportedly having marked police cruisers and uniformed officers. Officials say her actions interfered with legitimate law enforcement operations and created a real risk to the officers.
Interestingly enough, when we made contact with the person of interest and we're investigating this further as to does it relate to the Old Town event, this person became aware of our whereabouts because of the sounding and alert of that air horn. So when you have somebody that comes by and has this intention of interfering at all costs, it's detracting us from the safety issues at hand. It's creating another pocket of distraction, and it's just a bad overall situation.
Look at these morons. Look at them. Crazed lunatics. All right, let's go to a fun topic. Let's go to what's going on in Dallas-Fort Worth. We are preparing for the apocalypse. Half the country is. So it doesn't matter where you're at. Like I said, I'm filling in Nebraska, and they're going to get a waylay with very cold temperatures and very high winds and some snow, but they'll be okay for the most part. However, they'll get very, very cold there. However, not surprisingly, look at the people here. Look at the stupid people that are freaking out and going and buying up every single thing of eggs. These are from the croc flock. You are the croc flock. I want you to know you are the croc flock. You are the flock. And the flock is sending in pictures of idiots who are buying up everything, panic buying because the cold weather's coming. Look at this. Look at There is one of the pictures from the croc flock of a HEB somewhere in North Texas. She didn't say which one. Here is another one. Let me show you another one. There's another picture of the other side of the HEB in North Texas. I got more from other croc flock members. This is a video from Dallas TV. It's one of the accounts that I follow. They have a lot of good stuff. Here they are. Watch this. Hold on. Let me get myself back on. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? I love that. Now, there's more, though. This is a listener who tweeted out to me, too, and he said he has all of his preparations ready. Here they are. These are his preparations. One of the members of the croc flock sent that in too. He is prepared. He has a quarter of a roll of toilet paper. Now he needs some half down here. What is that? A chocolate pie? What is he eating there? Is that a Barbie freaking pie, dude? What in God's name is wrong with you? What the hell are you thinking, Dr. Phil? He's got cotton. He's got cotton candy and a big red. Look at that, dude. Big red cotton. He's got a quarter of a roll. He's got a tenth of a roll, 1/16 of a roll of toilet paper. Hold on. Where do we go? Hold on. Now, he needs some help down here. Where did my little thing go? Hold on. Everything went awry. Hold on. There we go. The whole Croc studio went awry for a second. That was freaking great. I love that guy. He made me laugh even more when I looked at it. I observed it. Holy crap. We're bleeped. We're all bleeped. We're all going to die. Get in the ditch now. We're all going to die. That is my advice for the impending weather. We are all going to die. It's over. Hold on, I got more. I think I got more. What do I got here? No. Okay. Yeah, no, that's it for now. But, dude, how great is that, huh? How great is that? Let me give you more information. This is all the latest, and I gotta dispute. I gotta tell you the truth first of all, because people repeat this. People on our side repeat this. I don't want anybody in the flock repeating this because this is a lie. Quote: This is from Fox 4 today in Dallas-Fort Worth. This storm that we're going to get is going to be over 100 hours of the below 32 degrees, below freezing, over 100 hours. And that's nothing to Chicago, Nebraska, etc. But we're screwed because, and I'll get into why, but one of the things is because we're going to have ice and rain and then icy rain. It's going to turn to ice. Ice weighs down the lines, electric lines. It also can blow up transformers. The weight is heavier, and it's more, dense or whatever. The other thing is, I'm not an expert, but I am on the radio and I'm a podcaster. The other thing is, ice gets on those tree branches, and people go nuts, and they get so mad at ERCOT. ERCOT is they're our overlords here, our energy overlords. And they send people in to trim the trees, and you got these freaking idiots who don't want to trim their trees, and they get mad because they get butchered. So you have idiots sitting up in trees. You had some crazed lady years ago when I was talking about on the radio here in Dallas-Fort Worth, who was sitting up in a tree with a BB gun, saying, "Come and get me. I'm going to shoot you." Maniacs. Probably one of those Karens blowing whistles at ice nowadays. That's the reason why we have power outages. Because people don't trim their trees, people don't call Encore. My freaking trees, listen to this. I had to call them a bunch of times because my trees were getting too close to the power line. And I was hoping they would butcher it and cut it way back because it's too close. I don't want to deal with it. I want it to get cut back. So I had to harass them for 2 months. This is 3-4 years ago, and they cut it. And they came eventually, okay? But they came again recently in the neighborhood. And you know what I did? Nothing. I was happy. In fact, they left a thing on my door, and I was waiting for them to come. I'm like, where are they? They were supposed to be here a week ago, 2 weeks ago. They never came. They came, and they cut and they butchered. You know what? I have these not magnolias. I have these crepe myrtles, and one of them was getting close to the wire. And they're not huge. Those trees aren't big. But it was getting too close, and I'm like, come on. And they came, and they did it, and I was so happy. They whacked it way back. I was like, yes! Tree limbs falling down are the number one reason we have power outages in Dallas-Fort Worth and probably in the whole country. That's so. Call the power company; they'll do it. At least they do in Dallas-Fort Worth and Texas, and that's it. And so the people that don't do that and don't call, you guys are the reason why we have power outages. Now, the lie that Fox 4 printed today in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's expected to be the worst winter storm since February 2021. That was Winter Storm Uri, when the state's power grid failed and an estimated 246 people died. That is a lie. It is a lie that winter storm and the power grid killed 246 people. They used that and they said, Governor Abbott, you killed 246 people. That is a lie. Those numbers include people who went outside and slipped on ice and cracked their head open and died in their driveway. That was included in that. Not just one, but people that slipped on the ice and died. It was also people that died in car crashes. It was also people that died having a grabber, which has nothing to do with it. It was a lie. The numbers are nowhere near that. You need to know that. Total lie, totally trumped up. Almost none of them had anything to do with the power outages. And by the way, let's get to that in a moment. So that's number one. That number is a lie, unless you want to say, well, Chris, if I slip on the ice, that counts. How does that count? What does it have to do with the power? What does it have to do with the grid having rolling blackouts? Come on. I got to tell you a little secret. When those rolling blackouts were happening 5 years ago in the middle of the storm, our power didn't go out once. Not once. And some of y'all were calling in or, saying stuff. And the reason why, we don't know why. There's a government building nearby. There's some schools. There's a university somewhere nearby. There is a city hall thing. There's a hospital. We don't know. But they don't take our power out. Maybe they will this time, and I'll learn. Hey, do they have the windmills going? Are we going to be okay with the windmills? Governor Abbott issued a disaster declaration for 134 counties. ERCOT predicts sufficient power capacity, noting this storm will be shorter and less severe than the one in 5 years ago. So that's number one. But people are going nuts. As you saw, they're buying up all sorts of stuff. They're buying up, Oh, by the way, everybody buys up milk, bread, and eggs. They want to build one big freaking piece of French toast, all right? Okay, the biggest risk, as I mentioned, will be a lot of ice. This is from Channel 4. They're forecasting 80,000 range, low 80,000 range for the electric grid. They have well over 90,000 megawatts. Oh boy! Well, as long as we have the windmills and the solar panels, I've told you the reason why our grid almost collapsed is only because three Republican governors in a row, Abbott, Perry, and George W. Bush, they all allowed our grid to be bastardized and subsidized to the point for green energy, to the point where green energy replaced our base load, which is what we need to power the state's energy for the 28 million, 29 million people we have in the state of Texas. We have a certain base load that we need. That's the base load. That's what you need to hum along. We have literally allowed 1/3 of our grid to be replaced by solar and wind, and that's why our grid is vulnerable, because we have allowed the federal government to incentivize those two instead of us fighting back and incentivizing natural gas, which went up to 11. It went way up. That's why our grid never collapsed. So that's the problem right there. For the most part, the most picked over items, according to Lori Brown of Fox 4 today, we saw the empty shelves. The people in the crock flock were sending ground beef, eggs, milk, fresh vegetables, canned goods. So I was at the store, too. I went to pick up my prescriptions. They said also, get your prescriptions. Well, I literally ran out of, 2 prescriptions, the several ones that I have. So I had to go, and it wasn't because I'm worried about the apocalypse coming. It was because I had to get the things they ran out 2, 3, 4 days ago. But I was there, and I saw, a lot of the eggs were gone, and some of the milk. I went to produce, and it was the most unbelievable thing. There was not one red. I do red peppers and cucumbers. There was no freaking peppers anywhere. There were very little pepinos, which is Spanish for peppers, and cucumbers. So, yeah, that was that. There wasn't mass pandemonium and panic, but there it was. One woman says, I'm just trying to look for a loaf of bread. She went to her 6th store, she told Fox 4. I'm at my 6th store trying to prepare for the winter storm. I'm just looking for a loaf of bread to get me through the weekend. Now, she needs some help down here. It's my 6th store I've been to today. I started last night, but the shelves are all empty. Ma'am, can I give you a clue? You're not going to die. If you don't have bread, you're not going to die. Or, get into a ditch. We're all going to die now. Why do we need to get in a ditch? It doesn't matter. I don't care. Get in a ditch now. We're all going to die. It's over. I think I'm going to do this part. My dad told me, Mr. Chicago up in there, he told me, fill up your tanks with gas. Make sure you have 3 days of food to ration. And it seems ridiculous, but nonetheless, we have that kind of for emergency thing aside from this. But I think I will fill up my tank. We had Jim Dutton from Texas Home Improvement on yesterday on the podcast. And if you want to know what to do with your house and your pipes and your outside stuff, Jim Dutton, listen to yesterday's podcast. My friend from Texas Home Improvement tells you everything you need to know right at the top of the podcast yesterday. But he did say this, too. Fill up your tub because you want 1 gallon per person per day for 3 to 7 days for drinking, sanitation. Fireplace, stock up for wood. I don't have a wood one. I have a gas one. And I think if you listened to me a day or two ago, you heard that we had a whole bunch of people over. It was a great night. And they wanted the fireplace, and so our friend Grace wanted it on. She said, "Can you turn it on?" I said, "Sure." I said, although every time I turn the dang fireplace on, it's $80 added to my gas bill for even if I have it for 2 hours or one night. I swear to you. Now I need some help, don't you? So I go up to the gas thing, and there's like 20 people, I don't know, 15 people at our house. I can't remember how many. And so I go to the fireplace, and I put the key in for the gas thing on the wall, and I turn it, and I haven't been thinking. I haven't used the gas fireplace for a couple of years, like 2-3 years. I put it all the way, I turn it all the way on. I'm not thinking. It's all the way on. And then I go over and I open the two windows, and I take above the mantle, I take the lighter thing, and I go, put it down, it goes, and it literally will, and the guy, one of my friends was right there, he goes, it was like a fire-breathing dragon, it was that bad. Dude, I got like a mild burn. It wasn't a burn, but for several hours, I felt like I had a little tiny burn here. And here, my wife swore she was expecting singed hairs because it was that bad. It was that freaking bad! And everybody was in the room when it happened. Oh, my gosh. In other words, don't listen to me. Charge your devices. That's actually smart. Have all your smartphone. As my son says, my daughter said, charge they phone, eat hot chip. There's some saying they do. All people want to do now is charge they phone, eat hot chip, twerk, and do something. I can't remember what they were saying. Some social media thing from several years ago. So charge they phone, okay? A meteorologist warns Americans need help to survive historic weekend storm. The next 10 days, says meteorologist Ryan Maw on Twitter, the next 10 days of winter will be the worst in 40 years across the United States. Oh my gosh, we really are all going to die. Think about where you want to go, what you can do, who needs even more help to survive this weekend. This is not hyper a joke, he said. He warned meteorologist estimates for snowfall amounts across the country may be underestimated. Freezing rain is going to hit Dallas, Fort Worth late tomorrow evening, Friday evening. Send in your pictures, by the way. I want to put them on social media. I got thousands of followers on Twitter and Facebook and such. I'll put them up on the podcast and everything. Send in your pictures. I will do an ice apocalypse podcast too, so it'll be fun. Send your pictures into me via Twitter, tweet them at me, or on Facebook, or all sorts of places you can send them to me. But mixed snow, here we go. So late Friday evening is when freezing rain is going to hit Dallas Fort Worth. My wife's work is having her go in early so she can leave early tomorrow, Friday. Mixed with snow, okay, so it's going to get freezing rain late Friday evening. Mixed with snow Saturday night, you're screwed on Saturday. We're all going to die. My church, First Baptist Dallas, never cancels. They canceled everything for Sunday. They did, as of today, so it's over. It's no church on Sunday. We're going to have mixed, so late freezing rain late Friday evening, then mixed snow Saturday night. On Sunday, the temperatures go to 0, possibly. Total snow and sleet accumulation expected to be 2 and 5 inches. It can wreak havoc on power lines, trees, and roads. Now, I got a little bit more to share with you, but I want to say this. Here's what I'm doing for I have 2 things, and I talked about this with Jim Dutton, and again, watch yesterday's podcast or listen to it. I'm now on Spotify, Amazon, and a whole bunch of other podcast outlets. Apple is taking like 2 days or 3 days. They're going to approve it, but they haven't done it yet. Just so you can listen to me. I had a wonderful listener, 2 listeners who've said, "I want Apple. I need you on Apple." I'm just waiting. As soon as they approve, you'll have several episodes in there. Okay, so they're all going to audio too now. Just so you know. And I can see the downloads. Love you, and all that kind of stuff. Thank you. But if there is wind, the Metroplex with the ice, we could see gusts of over 20 miles per hour. You start to look at widespread power outages, maybe branches falling on homes. I was going to tell you, though, with my pipes, I have a kitchen sink on the wall, on the outdoor wall, and I have a washer-dryer. The dryer obviously means nothing. The washer is on the outside wall, too. They're like within 20 feet of each other on the wall. So what I do is I have, with extreme weather like this, I don't just open the doors. Don't run your faucets. Jim says rivers freeze. Running water doesn't do anything. He says if you get up at night to go to the bathroom, turn your faucet on, wherever you pass by a faucet, turn it on. That'll help. But don't leave your stuff dripping. It does nothing. In fact, it can lower the water pressure of the city you're in. But so in the extreme weather like we're going to get, I had recent construction. My kitchen was redone 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know. And then my dryer, washer, I'm in this brand new, the whole impetus for my massive addition to my house is this studio that God gave me. And so we have a new laundry room, and so I'm pretty darn sure they made it very, very insulated, but I'm not trusting it. When this weather comes for this long, I will put a space heater that will go under the sink. It'll stand in front of it and go under the sink with the doors open so that it's warm in there. And another space heater, I'll take everything out of the laundry room, and it's going to go to the side, to the back of the washing machine, because while they've been insulated in the past 8 years, they're probably fine. I'm not going to find out. I will not wait. I'll have that run until it goes above freezing. But I only do that when it's 20 hours or more or something like that, just to be safe. I don't want to spend $2, $3, $5 because a pipe burst. Know where your water shutoff valve is too. Okay. So that's it. That is it. Oh, the chief of the former disgraced superintendent of Iowa Public Schools, Des Moines Public Schools, the largest school district in Iowa, and I fill in Des Moines a lot. Love doing WHO there. It's a monster station. This is great. This just came out today. This is brand new. This came out like in the afternoon on Thursday afternoon. Ex-Iowa schools chief admits false U.S. citizenship claim and gun charge. He pleaded guilty. Of course, you're like, well, duh. No. Listen to this. It's quite rich, and it gets better. He pleaded guilty. This is that former disgraced Des Moines public school superintendent, Ian Roberts, pleaded guilty, and this cost a woman, a Democrat who ran the Des Moines Public School District. She resigned from the board. She was running for Senate, for U.S. Senate in the state of Iowa. She resigned. She withdrew her Senate candidacy. She put this SOB in there, this sick illegal. And by the way, here's my message. Liberalism is deadly. And you will put this guy in the office or else. Watch this. He pleaded guilty Thursday to 2 federal charges, including falsely claiming to be a U.S. citizen. He's a native of Guyana in South America. He also admitted to being an illegal alien in possession of guns. Liberalism is deadly. Roberts acknowledged possessing 4 guns. Remember, you can't have one gun if you're an illegal. Possessing 4 guns, including a loaded Glock handgun found in his vehicle at the time of his arrest. You know that. Along with a rifle, a shotgun, another pistol recovered during a search of his home. All the guns were moved across state lines, giving federal authorities jurisdiction. His guilty plea today now exposes him to a combined maximum sentence of up to 20 years in prison on these 2 charges. Lock him up and then deport his, ass. He understands he'll be deported once his sentence is adjudicated. He hasn't been sentenced yet. The Department of Homeland Security says with multiple weapons charges and drug trafficking charges, Ian Andre Roberts should have never been able to work around children. That's why liberalism is deadly. Hire me or else. I'm black. I'm woke. I tell you what to do, even though I'm an illegal with weapons charges. He had several prior crimes, including weapons charges, priors when they hired him. Multiple weapons charges, a drug trafficking charge. This is literally what he had on his record as an illegal immigrant with multiple weapons charges and drug trafficking charges. Quote, he should have never been able to work around children. No kidding. And they hired him because he's black, he's woke, and he's an illegal. He tells you what to do. He's in charge of your country. Get down on your knees and beg. At the time of his arrest, DHS says, when ICE officers arrested the superintendent, he was in possession of a legal handgun, a hunting knife, and nearly $3,000 in cash. He was issued a notice to appear before immigration judge in 2020. Months before his work authorization expired, he was subjected to a final order of removal in 2024 before all this happened. Good night. Good night, Dirt Nap. Be safe, my friends. Stay classy. Be prepared. I'll be on the radio Friday again. There's pretty much no chance that the host I'm filling in for is not going to be sick for one more day. So I'll be on 2 to 6 tomorrow Central, which is 3 to 7 Eastern, filling in Omaha.